Discard the hand. I went on a trip last weekend where I got to spend time with my family and just absorb every minute with them before having to say goodbye again. On the way back from this trip, I don't know why, but I began thinking about people who get dealt really terrible cards in life. Thinking about this, I began to feel so thankful for the family I have. My family is loud, we're crowded, we don't know what personal space is, and there are no lines drawn. We are a crazy, all over the place kind of family, and sometimes we can be a lot even for each other. But my God, am I blessed. I have a crazy family, but we are loving, so strong, giving, and so much more. I have seen people get stuck in the ruts of life and stay there, but I have also seen people come from really bad backgrounds and make a better future for themselves because of it. My family is a wonderful example of this. My grandparents and most of my aunts and uncles, even my parents, have been through hell as children, known no love and had no guidance, yet they've overcome. So as I thought about people who were having a hard time in life, I couldn't help but wonder if they know that they have the power to change their lives. Sometimes in life you get dealt a bad hand, and you get so used to losing that you feel like that's the way it will always be, and you give in. But many times, all it takes is for you to put down the crappy hand and pick up a better one. I am not undermining any pain you've gone through or situations you've been in. I am simply trying to momentarily shift your perspective. My mom was one out of 12 siblings. She was there when her sister passed away from being sick because they weren't able to afford her medications. She ended up having to grow up alongside 11 siblings and 2 dysfunctional parents who one moment had it all together and one day broke apart due to alcoholism. They witnessed physical and verbal fights between their parents that at times involved throwing things at each other and causing physical wounds. My mom and her siblings were too many for my grandma to care for all on her own, so she had to separate them in different homes with different family members. Some family members were good, and others weren't. Unfortunately, my mom was handed off to a bad family. She got mistreated because the family preferred their child, and my mom meant nothing to them. So it didn't matter what she did as long as she stayed out of the way. She basically ended up raising herself, smoking cigars at 14, and experiencing things she shouldn't have had to. All this was just her childhood. She got it rough as an adult, and with her own family later on as well. Regardless, she was the first to become a true and devoted Christian out of her parents and siblings. She was the first domino to fall, and the rest of her siblings followed, and so did my grandma. My mother became a counselor to struggling couples and later felt called to become a pastor. She lives and breathes Jesus. And if she hadn't decided to swap her cards, I probably wouldn't be here today writing this blog. God had big plans for my mom's life, and He made sure she found them, but it started with her making the decision to change lanes. Sometimes we live in our lives while driving in the middle lane, but there are turns God is calling you to make, and you can't make them if you're only driving forward. Switch lanes, discard your crappy card, and make the turns, or you'll wreck it. You are meant for great things. God has incredible things planned for you, I know. You aren't meant to be stuck in a terrible situation or living a horrible life forever. These things, they can make you better, but you have to let it happen. It all starts with you. Will you make the choice to change your outcome? And that is what some of you were. But you were washed. You were sanctified. You were justified in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ and by the Spirit of our God. 1 Corinthians 6:11.